Board games are not what they used to be. No, really. No one really wants to play Monopoly or Clue anymore. Sorry, it's just not that fun. Sure, moving from A to B and doing that only is really cool in the 80s, but hey, we have themes and mechanics and it's a hobby now. So how do we get people into gaming who never really tried it since? I mean, after playing Monopoly, trust me, I wasn't really into it either until I had someone introduce me to Settlers of Catan, and from there it was this catastrophic downhill spiral of me buying a plethora amount of games that don't even fit the little room I'm in right now. Well, it's quite simple. I'm actually going to create here a gateway, how you can get NHCs to go from not playing to your good old-fashioned Gloomhaven. So let's start off with something I'm not very proud of starting off with, but hey, the mass appeal for this game goes without saying, makes absolute sense why this is my first choice. Cards Against Humanity. And for those who are SFW, keep it apples to apples. What I'm trying to mention here is it's not necessarily a good game, but it's what brought people into the world of gaming, modern gaming that is. It's funny, it's humorous, it's simple to understand, simple to get down. You can literally get anybody to play it. And all I have to do is just bring it out and people are down to play. It's introducing you to card drafting, voting, and taking turns, which is something we all do already. It's all very basic stuff while being interactive enough to not lose them yet. We're not losing them yet with this one. I like to call that the foot in the door. Next, we're going to do Exploding Kittens. Again, very mass appealing, very simple game, but hey, baby steps are what are going to get the NHCs to actually play with us. You know, you can't introduce them to something as scary as Agricola. You can't introduce somebody to something as scary as Pioneer Days. You have to trick them. What I like about this game is actually a completely different genre of board gaming. However, it's still extremely easy. The components, the mechanics, it's just quick pace, mindless fun. Yes, there's some depth, but you don't really need the depth when you're trying to show somebody brand new to the experience of hobby gaming. You just need them to know what they're doing. This game introduces players to player elimination, light strategy, and for the most part, simple instructions and simple gameplay. You're playing cards and hoping to avoid a bomb. Now from this point on, you could actually skip the next game I'm going to mention and move on to the one after, but I like to call this one the hook, line, and sinker because it's like, hey, here's a third game, also a hobby game. See, you really liking them now, and then you cage them and throw them into a huge game of viticulture. Joking Hazard. It's pretty much your Cards Against Humanity, but what you're doing is showing them that there's an opportunity to play different themes with the same mechanics. So it's not scary to try a new game because you possibly already know how to play it. You just need to know the minor detail changes that make it a new game, right? With Joking Hazard, you're still doing voting and card drafting and such, but this time you're making a comic. So it just gives them the idea of, hey, this is what's new with something you already know. I like this one a lot. That's why I threw it in there. Probably don't need it either. Scrawl. Scrawl is your telephone drawing game where you are, I mean, you know what? I take that back. I think this is important. And the reason is when you are done drawing or writing the card that you've seen previously, you rotate it. And rotation is probably the biggest mechanic that I want to teach people because it's not your quintessential gaming mechanic. It's not move something, do something, interact with whatever the game came with. It's actually physical interaction, showing new players, the NHCs, hey, you don't just need boards, cards, and such to play. Like, here's an actual human interaction happening here. I really like that about it. Reason why we're doing that is because, that's right, we're leveling up here. Sushi Go, completely out of the element of party games. This game is great because it shows you more depth than what a party game can bring you. Rotation, which we learned from Scrawl, and set collection, showing you that while yes, you could do a lot with cards, but now you're actually building scores out of this. You're not just getting a score for a card you win, you're actually getting scores for collecting cards. And I think it's really easy to teach that to somebody who's never played board games before. We all know how to look at numbers and cute little sushi symbols and be like, well, I need 3 of these. Simple. But I think what really stands out is the fact that it introduces players to individual card importance, which is something that is Gonna follow it here with Sundae Split. Now it's your Sushi Go meets a little more depth. It's still the same theme, so don't get scared yet. NHCs, we ain't done yet. Why I like it with Sundae Split is because, yes, similar concept. You're collecting points. It's set collection, but you're now splitting up cards, your set of cards, into an allocated amount of decks based off how many players there are. You're not rotating anymore. That's what's translated now. Instead of rotating, you're just separating, and everyone gets a chance to grab what they want. I think it adds a little more depth because of the strategy of flipping cards upside down. People are starting to understand, like, this is an important card. This is more important than this, depending on what these opponents have. You know what? I actually need something too. Now they're starting to really get those gears going, right? Why that's important is because once you introduce them to Machi Koro, now they already have a complete understanding of, yes, this is different from 80s games, and now I know I can expect something new out of this. You're throwing a little dice in the mix. You're still working with points. You're still grabbing scores. Now you're just rolling dice and collecting based off what the dice says. It's really easy to get across to an NHC. You know, I'm not going to be completely clueless if I don't get it. If I roll a 2, you mean this 2 gets a coin? It's so simple to comprehend. I think the important part here is understanding the value of what is more important. Do you want to collect more 2s because it might roll more? Do you want to work towards getting a second dice? Do you want to start working on your victory points, or do you want to build a city so it becomes easier later? The depth of strategy is actually starting to take place to the NHCs. It's no longer Cards Against Humanity, fun and laughter, and Sushi Go cute little sushi pieces. It's an actual game. From there, you can really branch out, but I would stick to this specific order based off my experience. Ticket to Ride, Takenoko, and Tokaido. Why I like those. Ticket to Ride shows you that set collection can be used in different ways. You're now building trains. You're collecting train cards to build trains. You're collecting cards to see objectives. Very important that they understand that you're no longer looking at the objective of buying cards. You're actually trying to complete these cards. Why that's important is because when you take them over to Takenoko for the first time, you already have everything it's just a touch up at this point. Dice rolling means something. Now the numbers have faces. The faces have abilities. At that point, you're learning area movement, which shouldn't be hard because you've already understood that Ticket to Ride is an area movement game because you're placing in certain directions to fill an objective. You're filling objectives. You're just adding more objectives to it. You know, you have the farmer and the panda that move around. The set collection with the cards. Some of the objectives are to capture a lot of bamboo. Some are to place modular board in a certain way, right? Now it's starting to like make sense. Like, oh, this is just becoming like second nature. Some games include new things and some games have old things. I know how this works. That's why you take them to Tokaido right after. Tokaido is the linear version of worker placement. Worker placement's a very difficult concept for somebody, the NHCs who've never played before. So when you put them on a linear road, you know, you still have like options, right? Oh, do I want to do this? Do I want to get coins right away? Do I want to go to the Buddhist temple? Do I want to go to the store? But there's no scattered look. It's all very linear, and it's easy for them to just, with their eyes, recognize. That's cool. Here. Stop. Collect yourself. Another round. You already know what to do. Here. Very good, because the point salad is also really hard. Like, do I want to capture more points here? Do I want to go for a painting? This. Like, there's so many options. I call that the point salad. Okay, you got a salad here with a bunch of things in it, and NHCs love that. Once that's done, once you've gotten that over with, it's no longer overwhelming to introduce them to cooperative gameplay. I think Pandemic is a great cooperative gameplay because you know how action allowance works. You have people spending actions, which is new, but it's not too crazy. I mean, they already have the hardest hurdles is past. You got them into it, and you've introduced them to a lot of mechanics, and you got them to play Tokaido. At this point, what is like throwing, okay, so now we could do 3 things in one turn versus 1 thing in one turn, okay? It's pretty easy for them to grasp, but the big thing here is cooperative gameplay. You're not against each other like you have been this entire time. You're actually working together. So anything that they don't get, why I like Pandemic, is any issues that they have, they can just rely on you, right? You can quarterback for a little while till they start getting it down. And that's the beauty of that. So that's why you bring in Megaland after. Megaland's another touch-up experience. Level Up, another touch-up experience, because You have Machi Koro, you're just giving them a little dungeon dive now, right? You just, okay, press your luck. Want to press your luck again? Cool. All right, you have resources. You know what resources are. We've been doing this for a while now. Let's buy some city pieces, just like Machi Koro. Okay, you're getting coins. You want 20 coins, just like you wanted those 20 victories. It's just like that. By then, these games should be relatively easy to introduce to players. And by the time you've introduced them, keep playing them. This isn't like a this. You know, you play them once or twice, introduce the next game, go back to the old one. It's just like learning, right? It's an education to the NHCs. You rotate these around until you think that the NHCs are ready for something slightly deeper, and then introduce the next thing. Before you know it, you have them playing Pioneer Days and eventually Mage Knight. Pioneer Days shows you variable player powers, dice rolling for actions. Mage Knight is co-op with a lot more depth, which I'm going to do a video later on how to get players into Gloomhaven and Mage Knight and all these a lot heavier games, Dark Souls, for example. So stay tuned for this. If you really like this video, please like and comment and tell me what I can improve on. This is my first time trying this, but I have a lot in store for NHC Gateway Gaming.